It's nice out here under my gazebo. Beautiful morning, enjoying my coffee, being at peace with God, being at peace with everything around me, including my own being. It's beautiful when God graces you with that peace. When you know that all is out of Him, through Him, and for Him, then you can really grasp onto the peace and knowing that God is operating all. Our part to play is as we are, lumps of clay. So God makes us and molds us according to His will. And I'm continuing on with this little booklet here, Expose of the Two Natures. The principle of sin is due to a want or deficiency. Call it a deficiency. I would call that. In the flesh or mortality, it's a deficiency. And that's why we miss the mark. While human nature is not sinful, sin is propagated by natural means. We all inherit a nature that is violated by sin, yet we are sinners, quote unquote, by nature, that is, through generation, a natural process since Adam. Natural process meaning we're dying to die. Even thus, the nature itself is not sinful. It is merely the method, the means, the avenue used by sin. What is conveyed through or by nature must not be confused with nature. This should enable us to understand the one passage which more than all others has misled us. The expression, by nature children of wrath. Okay, that is the authorized version of that. Has been freely applied to the human race, with small regard to its setting in the scriptures or the teaching of the context. It is the Jew by nature who is a child of indignation, even as the rest. Ephesians 2:3. The reference is not to the human nature, but to the fact that sin comes to the Jew by the natural channels, just the same as it does to the Gentile. All sinned, all are missed. Why did they sin? The answer is given forthwith. Because they are wanting of the glory of God. For this we have substituted in our theologies, because their nature has fallen and become sinful. Theological cemeteries spew this out, and they're dead. However, the more we search the scriptures, the more we shall wonder at the marvelous accuracy and truthfulness of this indictment of the human race. Their sin arises from a want, not a nature. It is so necessary that we grasp the full importance of the word wanting, that we will give below a full concordance of all its occurrences. Aside from its use as subsequent, 1 Timothy 4:1, and subsequently, Matthew 4:2, etc., this element occurs in a verb, want, and two nouns, want effect, which is a Greek elements, and wanting, both of which signify a deficiency. The exact force of this expression easily can be seen if we note the company it keeps. It is the opposite of superabundance, 2 Corinthians 8:14 and Philippians 4:12. It makes one an encumbrance, 2 Corinthians 11:9. It is like an affliction, Hebrews 11:37. That's amazing. It is corrected by filling, 1 Corinthians 16:17, 2 Corinthians 9:12, Philippians 2:30, and readjustment, 1 Thessalonians 3:10. Now the Greek word here is hysteresis, wanting, Hustereesis, wanting. Okay, so I'm going to read a bunch of passages here that are related to this. So it goes into a great big concordance here, which is fine. So I'm going to share this with you. I'll do it as slow as possible, so maybe you can write these verses down so you can see where the word wanting is in the scriptures. She, out of her want, casts in all. Mark chapter 12, verse 44. Not that I am hinting at a want. Philippians 4:11. Now we're going to go into want effect, which is deficiency. This is different Greek word. H-U-S-T-E-R-E-E-M-A. Want effect, deficiency. This woman, out of her want, cast in all. Luke chapter 21, verse 4. They fill up their deficiencies of yours. 1 Corinthians 16:17. Your superabundance for their want. 2 Corinthians 8:14. Should be coming for your want. 2 Corinthians 8:14. Tending to fill up the wants of the saints. 2 Corinthians 9:12. In want, I am an encumbrance to no one. 2 Corinthians 11:9. He should fill up your want. Philippians 2:30. Those which are wanting of the afflictions of Christ. Colossians 1:24. To readjust the deficiencies of your faith. 1 Thessalonians 3:10. Now, this other part is hysterio, or H-U-S-T-E-R-E-O-O. Want deficient. Singular, that is. In what I am wanting still. Mark chapter 19, verse 20. In one thing you are still wanting. Mark 10:21. And he begins to be in want. Luke chapter 15:14. Do you want anything? Luke chapter 22, verse 35. At their being in want of wine. John 2:3. And are you wanting of the glory of God? Romans 3:23. You are not wanting in a single grace. 1 Corinthians 1:7. Are we in want? 1 Corinthians 8:8. Giving that which is wanting. 1 Corinthians 12:24. I was present with you and in want. 2 Corinthians 11:5. I am not wanting in anything. 2 Corinthians 12:11. To be superabounding and to be in want. Philippians 4:12. Someone of you may be seeming to have been wanting. Hebrews 4:1. In want, afflicted, maltreated. Hebrews 11:37. That no one be wanting of the grace of God. Hebrews 12:15. In the latter scriptures, especially in Paul's epistles, we have the principle of sin dealt with as well as the act. So this is beautiful. You got all that, them scriptures relating to want effect, deficiency, and singular want, and that's great. So this passage of scripture here is great. Romans 5:12. Through one man sin entered into the world, and through sin death. So there's your answer. That Adam sinned or missed the mark, we have already learned. But through this something has come which effectually makes sinners of all of Adam's descendants. If it did not enter his nature or inhere in his flesh, what did it do, and how did it accomplish its fatal work? Much may be learned from a close study of sin's effects at the first, and of the divine judgment pronounced upon it in Eden. The fact that it leads to death, and the decree that thorns and thistles are to accompany its stay, shed much light on its character. Sin, fully consummated, is teeming forth death. James 1:15. Sin therefore attacks the vitality of mankind. The change was not in its constitution, but in its life. Adam began to die the moment he sinned. This is the force of dying, thou shalt die. All right, tomorrow I'll continue on with this part. The gospel is God's power and life, not a new nature. So, having a beautiful morning, grace and peace. Have a beautiful day. Have a wonderful day in the Lord. I love you all. We'll see you tomorrow.